first thing I'm going to say is take advantage of this. I never had anything like this. I went to high school in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We had nothing. We had cows in the back pasture. That's about it. We had nothing to do. I knew I wanted to get into sports, but that was it. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I played a lot of Madden. I'm sure some of you guys do too, or FIFA or something like that. And I thought I was really good at making trades. So I was like, ooh, I'm going to be a general manager one day. And then I looked at what the scouts do, which, by the way, are these media guys I gave you. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to end up in Southwest Missouri, left of this creek, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, what can I do? Well, my dad was in public relations for years. He served in the military, public affairs officer for 28 years. Worked a bunch of different stuff. When he lived in Indiana, when he was stationed over there, he would do Pacers games, Indiana Pacers games, just like stats and numbers and do some PA stuff. So when I was trying to figure out what the heck I wanted to do, I was at the University of Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where I got both of my degrees. Which, by the way, I saw that Southern Miss to the top thing back there. I don't know if you drew that or whoever else, but that's our logo.
Yeah, I lived in Mobile for 2 years, so
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
well
yeah,
aware.
yeah,
That's one of the girls from third period
Okay.
today. She's in the business class, and she put that up there.
Yeah, that's good. I saw that. I was like, wow, this was cool. So I went there in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, got both my degrees there. Still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was a band nerd. I played saxophone. I was not athletically gifted, so I did band instead. So I played sax for 4 years in college. I was captain, blah, 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 did all that stuff. But I loved sports. So my senior year, I decided to volunteer for a sports information department for my father, because otherwise I was just going to go teach English in Japan. Like, I had no doubt what I wanted to do. This is my senior year in college. I'm still trying to figure it out. So volunteered the spring semester. I worked baseball. Loved it. It was really cool. So here I am sitting in the press box. Like, you get free food and entry. That's neat. And then you're around the players. That's neat. We had a big game playing Ole Miss, and we beat them. Actually, Brian Dozier, who plays for the Minnesota Twins, I don't know if you guys follow baseball, he was on that team, played for us. Hits bottom of the ninth, 2-run homer, wins the game, walk-off home run. It's great. I'm going ballistic in the press box. My boss grabs me. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "What? I'm excited. We won the game." He goes, "Well, if you're going to work in PR, you can't be a fan. The fan of you has to die." I was like, "What is that? What does that mean?" Essentially, what he meant by that, which I've learned, is you have to be professional about it. So as I'm learning this sport, it's like you guys have Arkansas on, and you're a fan. You'd love to work for that team, but you may not work for the team you're most fan of. Like, I can't say this publicly. I work for the Cowboys, but I was a New Orleans Saints fan. But anyway, I always wanted to work for them, but I never got to get there. I know, tough loss, right? But I work for the Cowboys now, so. But I wanted to work for the Saints. So here I am, like, okay, I'm interested in this. How do I get involved with this? What do I do? I had no clue. Kind of an idea what my dad did, but my dad didn't do sports PR. So as I started looking at it, I volunteered. My first event was at the New Orleans Bowl, 2004, and what I did was actually my dad was with me, and the guy running the bowl says, "Okay, can you do quotes?" And I was like about to say no. My dad nudged me, and he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, yeah, I can do it." So essentially what it is, at the end of the game, you go up to the players in the locker room or the coaches, and you record it on your phone. Well, now it's on your phone, but they have little recording devices, and then you would type it up as you hear it. And I just had to learn on the room. I was like, "Oh, it's not so bad." You print it out, then the next day, these are the quotes that show up on Dallas Morning News, Fort Worth Telegram, or that place at Times-Picayune about, Southern Miss tight end, blah, 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 said this. So I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I like this. So again, my dad nudged me, because it took that a little bit, because I didn't know what to do. I was nervous. Went up to who would become my boss at Southern Miss. His name is Mike Montoro, who's now the head football PR guy at West Virginia. And I said, "Hey, I'm volunteering for this right now, but obviously I'm going to be, it's my spring semester, my senior year. I would love to work with you." He's like, "Come see me next week. We'll see." So that's when he put me in baseball. And then he also goes, "Here's men's and women's tennis." I didn't know squat about men's and women's tennis. Didn't even like the sport. But here I am running the sport in terms of the PR stuff. So I'm writing recaps of tennis stories. I'm doing stats. I had to create a media guide, which is in front of you. That's basically our Bible. And that's bios of the players, bios of the executives, bios of the coaching staff, history. Like, we have no history of Southern Miss tennis that was in a book, in one place where you could find it. The media needed it, hence media guide. So I had to go back and look up old write-ups of scores and who's the singles champion, who's the doubles champion. I had to learn all this. I had no clue, but the thing about sports PR is the whole idea of fake it till you make it. But I'm the king of that. That's basically a lot of PR is doing that, not being afraid of just jumping into it, especially if you love it, which I did. Again, going back to playing Madden, I want to do this. I want to work in the NFL. That was always my goal. So here I am doing men's and women's tennis. I was like, this is great, but I'm about to graduate. What am I going to do? Well, I started looking at programs at Missouri State. So what I do actually is called sports information in college. So if you're looking at programs next, you guys are all seniors, right? Okay. Do y'all have your college picks? Assume Arkansas? Yeah. Do we all have? Okay. So as you're looking, I don't know if you all declared your major yet. You're trying to figure it out. Yes, almost. Yeah. Okay, go with what you think you can enjoy. Okay, so what you think that something that like really interests you. So for me, it was always, okay, what are the things I like? And I wrote down. I was like, well, number 1 is sports. Number 2 is movies. Number 3, I'm a huge comic book nerd. I was like, I'm gonna work for Marvel. And then I was like, this little small thing just started called Facebook at the time. Yes, I was around when Facebook just started in college, and it was just what friends I have at Princeton and Tulane, and now it's your mom's on it. That's weird. Anyway, so but I was like, you know what? If I go into PR like my dad, I can work for all these companies. So as I'm saying this, it's not just sports, just remember that. So I'm looking at all these companies or things I can do, but I've always loved sports. So that was my freshman year. So fast forward back to what I'm talking about. So senior year, and I'm looking at Missouri State, which has a great sports information program. Ohio University, not Ohio State, Ohio University has a great sports information program. Southern California has a great program. One of their most famous alumni, I don't know if you know this, but it's pretty big, is none other than, can you take a guess? He's a comedian, very famous, was on SNL. Anyone?
Will Ferrell?
Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell was a sports info guy. He's supposed to do what I do. That's why he
Seems to say Saturday Night Live, that was
he was a big sports info guy. He's actually now a part investor with the new LAFC team for Major League Soccer. So that's why. He could have been doing what I was doing, and he was funny, you know. So anyway, so that happens, whatever, and then I'm looking at all these programs. Okay, Missouri State's really good. My dad had an in. Now, the key you're going to hear is like, my dad knows somebody, or my boss knows somebody, or something. Who you know being aggressive, like you talked about with Cam. You got to put yourself out there. So I'm just like, okay, my dad knows somebody at Missouri State, so I can probably get in and maybe get like a partial scholarship. So I started telling my boss at Southern Miss that. He goes, no. You're going to stay here. I'm going to pay for your schooling, your books, give you a stipend on top of that. I was like, oh, that's great. So I got my graduate assistantship while studying my master's in PR, which I never thought I'd get, which, by the way, it buys you time. For some people, they always ask, okay, well, how much further education? In sports, it's more important, A, to get your degree, whether that's if it's sports PR you want to do in communications, but sport administration, which I got my major in, I'm minored in journalism, emphasis in PR, but you can also do sports management, sports marketing, there's all types of different stuff, get that degree. What I suggest do, like I was talking to a friend of mine last night, and she's young, she's 22, 23, she's trying to figure out is like, go back to school and get your master's. Because that buys you time, but while doing it, there's a website called COSIDA.com, COSIDA.com. What that is the College of Sports Information Directors of America. So on there it lists Texas, graduate assistantship with football. Arkansas, graduate assistantship with sport marketing for baseball, whatever. There's all these spots, and you can end up, as you're going through school, being like, man, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do, but this will buy me time. So I did that, never thought I'd get my master's. Here I am, I'm not going to lie, in high school I was like a C student, maybe the occasional B. I kind of slacked up, not going to lie. My senior year, I didn't graduate top of my class. I was like a speaker, I was happy about that, I was representative, but that was it. I didn't have it like that. I was a drum major, I was in band, I did all the accolades, all that extra stuff, but I didn't focus on as much as I should have. When you get to college, it's going to get real quick. So I started learning how to study, and then as I got my master's, yada, yada, yada. Glad I got it. Mainly because it gave me the experience that I needed. So when I came back my first semester, while I was getting my master's, my boss said, okay, you're still doing men's and women's tennis, which is in the spring, but I want you to help with football, I want you to help with men's and women's basketball, I want you to help with women's soccer, I want you to help with women's volleyball, all the sports, softball, I got to do all of them. And on a lot of these sports I didn't know. I didn't know soccer at the time, different stuff. Started getting into it, what I did. So what do we do? Does anybody have an idea what a sports media relations, public relations person does? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller?
Everything.
Anyone? Basically what your title says.
Which is what?
Public relations.
I relate to the public? Yeah, that's good. That's what I say all the time. Yeah, it's a joke. So, no, a lot of people don't understand. It's okay. It's a good guess, though. That you'd be a perfect PR guy. So what we do on a day-to-day basis is we handle the stats information of all the sports. So think of us kind of like a sports historian or a sports librarian. So if you like stats, if you like, watching stuff on TV and said the last time a rookie quarterback played was a 4th round draft choice or later and started all 16 games. It's never happened for the Cowboys before, and it's only happened 4 times before. That was Dak Prescott. I looked that up. Like there's things like that are cool, like stats bits you can like throw out to your friends and make fun of them. So I know this, you don't. We do that on a daily basis. It's fun. It's also what Fox and NBC and ESPN, all those little blips that come up, or ESPN says, LeBron James is having statistically the best year of his career. He's shooting, 65% from the line, and he's, .589, on his total field goal percentage, blah, blah, blah. He's breaking records, this and that, or this guy has many rings. We do all that stuff. So that's first and foremost what your job is, the stats part of it. Now, we put together a book, which I'm gonna show you in a minute, that we send to the media on a weekly basis, locally and nationally. So you have that. The other part of our job that is big, along with the publication we have, which is our media guides, we publish that every year. Each team does that, whether it's college, professional, minor league, they all do that, so that teams can look that up. And what we do, we actually have a app, a media guide app, a Dallas Cowboys app for the media guide where you can look that up, and we actually update it, because obviously you can't update this once it's printed. So you can look that up. It's like, Mr. Jones just went to the Hall of Fame. How many Super Bowls was he a part of? And how many total wins did he have? We update all that stuff, but every year we produce that. Next thing that we do in terms of publications, writing the notes, things like that, is the interviews. So every week, what we do, whether this is college or pro, is you're getting your athletes to speak to the media. Now, the NFL is unique that it's one of the only professional platforms where the athletes have to talk to the media. You've heard the whole Marshawn Lynch, I'm just here so I don't get fined. They happened Super Bowl a couple years ago. It's true. If our players in the NFL do not talk to the media, at least once during the week, make themselves available, or once after a game, they're first sent a letter by the NFL that says, hey, per your contract, you're required to speak to the media once during the week and once after the game. So it's our job to be like, hey man, look, I know you had a horrible game, you dropped like 5 passes, and you fumbled the game away, and it's really, really terrible, but they want to talk to you. I'll be with you the whole time. The things you need to say is like, look, it's on me, I take full advantage of it, I'm gonna get better in practice this week, we live and die as a team, this is what we're gonna do, we're gonna move on. Can you do that? And I really do this bubble law, say, look, if you do this, it's over. If you don't, it keeps going on. Will you do it? Okay, bingo, so there we go, you're perfect, good job. So you're trying to convince players all the time. Now there's some guys that have a big platform, or think they have a big platform, like what Bryce Butler did a week or 2 ago as a free agent. He goes on the airwaves and talks about the offensive system wasn't good enough for him, and he's better than Dez, and yada yada, to stir up interest in order to get him a bigger free agent deal. I told him, I was like, are you stupid? Because that hurts us, but he's like, bro, I'm just trying to get paid. So you try to counsel some of those guys, things they do. When Dez has blow-ups in the locker room, which you can look up, see videos that we're actually in, there's only so much we can do, but we have to try to calm them down in order to be able to speak to the media. It's very important because the media have jobs that they report on Dallas Morning News, Star Telegram, and they're putting stuff on Twitter, this and there. Because they have to do their jobs, there has to be a time to talk to the players. So for us, it's during the week, it's right after practice. We have a cool down period. Once practice is over with, they come in the locker room, 45 minutes, and the guys are around. They talk to them. Hey, playing the Eagles this week. What do you think about going against Lane Johnson? Or hey, playoffs are kind of on the brink. You think you guys can make it? What it will do? Or what's it been like without Zeke? Yada yada yada. So they're kind of used to answering those questions, but things will pop up. A big thing was the anthem protest this year, where guys would ask us. A lot of times, we didn't know the full answer to it, but we try to counsel them, particularly the quarterback, more of your high-profile players that have to speak to the media because they want to know, they want to hear from them. Sometimes the guys that speak best to the media may be your, backup offensive lineman, but nobody wants to really hear from them. They want to hear from Dak and Dez and Zeke and those guys. And a lot of times those guys may not want to talk, and it's your job to try to get them to speak to the media. So you're always prepping them, you're always ahead of the news, you're reading stuff, weekly what's going on, what am I hearing about this and this, is this report accurate that we're signing this coach or signing this free agent, and you have to be able to get away from the fake news and actually get stuff out there or stop it if it's bad stuff. So anyway, so here I am in college, give you an idea of all the stuff we do. College is very similar, NFL is actually a higher level. So I was trying at that point, I was like, well, do I want to stay in college? I did this for 1.5 years. College is great, it's a lot of fun, but I knew that if I kept going with college, I would have to, if I got a job, go to a smaller school, which is fine. And you can't expect immediately, I'm going to go straight up to Arkansas, or I'm going to go to Texas, or I'm going to go to USC, whatever. It's probably not going to happen unless you're just the wonder kid and just amazing. But no one really noticed, especially some kid from southern Mississippi. So for me, I said, you know what, I've always wanted to work in the NFL, I'm going to do this. So there was an internship with the Detroit Lions. And I figured, what the heck, let me go for it. And the point is always apply for stuff, even though you think you may not get it. Just like, can you do quotes? Never done before, but try it, what the heck? What are they gonna say? No, it's the same way as you see that pretty girl or that good looking guy on the dance floor, and you think, there's no way they're gonna dance with me. Ask them. You never know. It's the same way, that's the way I looked at it. Why can't I work in the NFL? I was a mediocre student, but I busted my butt to get where I was at. Because I figured, why not? No one expected me to get a master's degree, I did it. Same way, why can't I work in the NFL? Again, I was born in Louisiana, I grew up in Tennessee, I went to southern Mississippi, and I made it. I didn't have a degree from Princeton, I didn't come from money, I just got by with everything that I had. So when I was looking at this, I was like, let's go for it. So I applied for it, I got it. I go to Detroit, Michigan, never have been more cold in my life. But it snowed in October, was not used to that as a Southern guy, whatever. We had a lovely 3-13 season. Rob Marinelli was our head coach, our defensive coordinator. It's a lot of fun. It was very depressing, but I enjoyed it. I mean, here I am in the NFL, I'm working around NFL players, I'm writing game stories, I'm asking NFL players to talk to the media. This is great, I enjoy it. This is a lot of fun. I think I want to do this. So I started applying for jobs. Who's going to hire a kid? Yeah, I have 2 degrees. Yeah, I've worked all these sports. Yeah, I've worked one thing with Detroit Lions. Okay, there's no full-time gigs. What do? Do I give up? I'm going to keep trying. As a kid, there used to be NFL Europe one. It's probably way before you guys' time. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but we used to have a developmental league for the NFL called NFL Europe. It used to be teams from Barcelona and London and Mexico. Well, it shrunk the last season in 2007 that I got it, where there's 5 teams in Germany, there's 1 team in Amsterdam. And I'd watch as a kid, I was like, man, this is so cool. I'd love to go to Europe, do NFL Europe, that'd be so cool. There was only 6 spots, that's it. So here I am as a Detroit Lions intern. I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I'm gonna apply for it. I'm gonna go for it. Why not? I got it. 1 of 6 to do it. I don't know how many people I went up against, but I applied for it. I got it. I always wanted to study abroad, which, by the way, if you have a chance in college, definitely do it. But I didn't have the money to do it. So this gave me a way to go. So here I am, NFL Europe. I'm an intern, but I'm basically running things on the American PR side. They had like a German PR side, and they handle all the things of basically you open up the page every day of the newspaper, and all their sports was soccer, a sport called handball, if you've heard of this before, wrestling, and then the back page is American football. So our job was to do the normal stuff we do that I said before, like our games were broadcast on Fox Sports or some on Fox, and so they would do conference calls with players back home, and we would promote it. We'd type together all the league stats and the player stats and notes and figures I'm going to show you, and we send that out back home, and the German PR staff would say stuff like, if we don't win this game, then all our players are going to strip down to their boxers and run down the Elbe River, and it's like 20 degrees. We're not going to really do that, but it was like, okay, I got to watch and see if this happens. They had to promote the sport. So that was a lot of fun to be able to work in a foreign environment as an American. We ended up winning the title, so I got a ring. I know it's NFL Europe, I still got a ring, which is cool. That's the other aspect of it too. Because I wasn't athletically gifted, there's no way, I didn't even make my high school basketball team. I didn't make my middle school basketball team, I suck so bad. But I was like, here I am, I'm working in the NFL, like I'm a part of it on the sideline. I know these guys, and I won a championship. Did I contribute in terms of tackles and catches and passes? No, but I feel like I still contributed and still helped them out. So if you like that environment and the fact of being with the team, this is for you too, because it's a part of you. You don't have to be tip-top and amazingly in shape or have to do this. You still contribute to the team. So after that, I do NFL Europe. What am I going to do next? Well, I got to apply for internships again because there's no full-time spots. They don't want me yet. I don't have enough experience. That's the key to remember this. So what I do is start applying. I apply to all 32 teams every year. I apply for them. And I would find if you just go like to any website you guys are able to do, anything, it doesn't even have to apply to sports. DallasCowboys.com, DetroitLions.com, Facebook.com, whatever. If you go down, which some of you may or may not know this, to careers, like, okay, everything has an application for it, but what you do is you go to About Us, find the position you want. So I find the head PR guy for every spot, and I email him. Hey, my name's Joe Trahan, I'm looking to do an internship. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Do you guys have anything open? Now, 32 teams, how many people responded back to me? 8 to 10, maybe? And some of them, a lot of times, those 8 to 10 were, hey, it's really cool, appreciate what you're doing, don't have anything but good luck. At least they responded, but not the answer I wanted to hear. Came down to 4 teams that did respond back to me with an offer, and they said, we want to interview you. So Chicago Bears, Jacksonville Jaguars, Atlanta Falcons, Dallas Cowboys. Now again, my dream team, the New Orleans Saints, who I want to work for, didn't want me. That hurt a little bit, but it happens. So, but I just want to work in the NFL. I'm willing to go wherever. I've been to Detroit, I've been to Europe, I'll go wherever. That's what it is. If you want to work in sports, you got to be willing to move. This is a great area. I'm not going to lie, I've been here for 11 years. I love Texas, I love Dallas. I even bought me some cowboy boots. I feel like I'm actually a Texan. 10 years, I think they say you're an actual Texan. Not right now. I'll wear them on Fridays. I do have them. They're cool. So no, we could wear it. There's some people that do. It's cool. So anyway, so this goes by, and I talk to these teams. It whittles it down to Dallas and Chicago. And I've just been in the Midwest, and Chicago's a great town. But I was like, God, it'd be kind of nice. My aunt and uncle lived in Plano at the time. Again, these internships don't pay squat. So I was like, I could live with them. So anyway, I ended up getting the Cowboys one, luckily. I interned. So here I am, I'm 23